All right, there we go. We are recording.
Sounds good to you.
All right. So, and I'm also driving, so I'm letting people in. Here comes Stephanie.
Come on.
All right.
Just click.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'll get this. Yeah, you just keep driving.
Okay. So anyway, so two of my friends wanted to get on the program. I had lost 3 pounds in my first day. And Leanne said, well, Mary, why don't you become a coach? And I said, first off, no. Okay, number one, I'm too busy. But I forgot I was talking to probably one of the busiest people I know. Number two, I thought, well, and I'm an ordained minister. Like, how can I be selling something and be in ministry? Like, I can't do that. And then I remembered, oh, wait, Leanne, like, does all kinds of international ministry. So there went that excuse. The last thing I thought was, you know, this is one of those pyramid schemes. I've done multitudes of these. I think I've learned through this process that God made me as an entrepreneur. And I've kind of always been searching for that vehicle, but it has not ever been anything that was like really legitimate or, I mean, maybe legitimate for somebody else, but it just didn't fit with my life and my values and all of that. So I was absolutely not about coaching. And she said, Mary, this is different. And I said, well, here's what I know. I know Leanne. I've known her for a long time. I trust her. She would not be trying to just make money off of me. So I said, let me go ahead and just try becoming a coach. So I did. And long story short, here I am 2.5 years later. I make double what I ever made in corporate America. I do not work full-time hours as you would think of with a job. I cannot tell you the multitude of relationships this has brought into my life, the mindsets, the inner healing I've received, even growing as an entrepreneur, as a ministry leader, through the training as an Optavia coach. Like, it has transformed my life. And so we have this little saying, Leanne happens. Like, when Leanne comes into your life, like, there's just this open door of blessing that flows into your life. So anyway, I had no idea. I thought I was just signing up to lose a few pounds. And the result has been total transformation of my body, my finances, and my mindsets. It's been absolutely amazing. So along that journey, we refer to ourselves as transformational health coaches because we really are about lifelong transformation. And I thought, you know, Bill Blaine is a transformational leader. He calls himself that all the time. And I would always think this. And I'm like, but he doesn't need to lose any weight or anything like that. So finally, I just reached out. I said, okay, Bill, I can't get you off my mind about this. You would make an amazing health coach. And so he's like, well, I really need to lose 12 or 15 pounds. I was like, what? You know, I mean, you just don't know. You don't think somebody does, and maybe they think they do. So anyway, that is how Bill became a coach. That's how I became a coach. And it was all because Leanne Goff said yes on her own journey. And so we're just going to use that, our stories and testimonies, as a way to just transition into introducing Leanne, who is here from Nashville, although she really has a global influence, not just a Tennessee influence. But so here she is. Leanne, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So do we want to move that down here?
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
well, that's, and before we do this, what I'd like to do, if we don't have a clock up here, what time do we have, Everett? Look at it.
It's 12:16.
12:16. I'd like to take a few more minutes though and go around, if you don't mind. I'd like for each one of you just to introduce yourselves and where you're from and maybe how you're connected to either, you know, Leanne, Mary, or myself. You'll need to take a long time. And then those of you on Zoom, I want y'all to pop in too. You can put it in the chat first, just that way, in case we run a little short on time, but I'd like to get, you know, maybe 60 seconds from you. So let's go to Annabelle. You do that? You can just hold it.
Hey, my name's Annabella Branco, and Mary's my health coach. And I've been told this by Mary, and Leanne's my health coach. And I know Mary from church, and I have been truly blessed in all the same areas Mary has been. And
Hello, my name is Joanne Jean-Jacques. I met Mary through church. That's how I got to know her, and she introduced me to the Optavia program, and I lost 53 pounds. So definitely feeling much better and so much healthier. So currently I make my living as a public school teacher in middle school right here in Smyrna, Georgia. So I'm just really glad to be here today and to get inspired.
Yeah, go. Okay.
I'm Everett Biggerstaff. I'm from Johns Creek, Georgia, which is very close. Bill's my coach, and I met Bill through Jeannie, who's my fiance. And I've just been on it for about 10 days now, and I've lost 10 pounds. I don't know that I'm gonna continue losing a pound a day, but it's very motivating at the moment. So, so I'm doing very well.
Hi, I'm Jeannie, and I'm Everett's fiance. And I had actually known. Hold on. Am I on?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, let me see. It may have knocked itself.
I didn't touch it.
I'm always telling you, don't touch it.
Let's see. Oh, there it is. Sorry.
Try again.
Yeah.
I hope he was on.
It's okay.
Okay. Hey, folks, I'm back. It's Jeannie. So I'm Everett's fiance, and I have known, Bill and Mary from other walks of life, and we just kind of reconvened with one another, which has been great. I have been on the program several weeks now, and I am down 6 pounds. And a pant size.
I think as a male coach, I'm learning that pant size matters. All right, there you go, Miss Mary. See if that'll put you okay.
All right, so let's go on to our Zoom guests. Ike, how about we take you first?
What's up, everybody? Ike Ikoku. I've been pulled off the streets by Bill Blaine about 6 years ago and finally wandering the streets of Atlanta. He knew I was homeless and I needed a community of believers that were in the marketplace trying to live out God's kingdom purpose and mandate. And he said, hey, forget what you're doing. Sell your ship, your boats, and follow me. And followed him, and I've been going ever since. So pleasure to be here. Glad to be amongst you guys.
We're glad you're here. Todd and Catherine?
Hi, we're Todd and Catherine, and Mary is our wonderful health coach and business mentor. We've been doing the program we started 2 years ago, and we're now health coaches and extremely happy that we said yes and found Mary, and Leanne happened, and we've lost 240 pounds.
Say how much it kind of cut off, Catherine. Say how much you lost again.
We lost 140 pounds between the two of us.
140 pounds
Wow.
between the two of us.
Oh, wow.
Yes, amazing. All right, Stephanie, want to introduce yourself? All right, we'll come back. How about Angela? You want to
You're not
unmute?
moving, so there's
There we go.
something wrong there.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good.
I'm hoping that I'm the Angela you're talking about.
Yep, absolutely.
You are.
So I'm Angela De La Vega. I have known Mary and Leanne for, I don't know, the better part of 5 to 6 years. Mary has been very insistent with love for me to join this program. I didn't have too much weight per se to lose. I'm a nurse, so just not the greatest lifestyle habits because of a lot of flip-flopping with my work schedules, a lot of second and thirds, and so you're kind of eating on the go, drinking a lot of caffeine, lots of sugar, and so I finally, yes, I think 17 days ago I've been on the program, and I am not one that hops on the scale, so I really couldn't tell you the numbers, what I weigh, but I can feel it. I definitely know I feel like I've lost inches for sure, because I'm getting into things that normally I wouldn't be trying to get into. I would know better not to get into it. So I'm feeling good, and I'm looking forward to what coaching has to offer. I just signed up to be a coach, and just continuing with the program to see what it can do in the next couple of weeks moving forward for me. So
Excellent. Wonderful. All right, Esther.
I was hoping to just go unnoticed.
Ah,
I'm Scotty Moore's wife, and he just told me about this call and asked me to be a part of it, and so I'm here. I know absolutely nothing about anything, so.
well, we are happy to just fill you in today. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, and we're so glad you're here. All right, so let's jump to Scotty then.
Hey everybody, Scotty. I got to know Bill maybe a couple weeks ago, so this is still pretty fresh for me as well, and he invited me on the call, and so I'm just here to check it out. So pleased to be here.
By the way, Scotty's a transformational leader.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
That's how we met, was on a call together with our mentor, Ford. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, how about Ruth? Can you come off mute, Ruth, and introduce yourself?
Can you unmute her?
Well, unclick.
That handsome guy up in the right-hand corner.
All right, so yeah, I was going to save him for last. How about Beth? Beth Copeland, you want to come off and introduce yourself?
Oh, great.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Beth Copeland, and I am a friend of Bill Blaine's. He sent an invitation. I have much respect for his platform, and just wanted to support and also just to hear and glean today. Thank you.
Great. We are glad you're here. And Noemi? So she's connecting to audio, so it might just take a second. Can you hear us, Noemi? Okay, well, we'll come back. Stephanie, are you, or Ruth, do you still want to come off, or we can just move on? All right. Okay. So Bill Blaine?
How about Ray Goff?
Oh, Ray. Yes, I'm so sorry. I was saving him for last, right before Leanne, and then I forgot. So yes, Stingray.
Hey guys, I am Ray Goff, not to be confused with the other coach, Ray Goff. But I do have roots in Georgia. In fact, most of my family is buried there, and I am endeavoring to not join them. So the health journey is really a incredible thing. I don't understand why somebody would not want to improve their health. I see people, hear of people dying every day that could have lived longer, and that is my goal. So, and of course, I met Mary through my wife and our involvement in the Georgia area, and have known her for some time now. Anyway, glad to be here.
Yeah, and how about your health journey, Ray? How much have you lost and maintained?
I didn't need to lose much, but I did lose about 30 pounds, and I have maintained it for at least 2 years now. And now I'm working on putting on muscle. So I am in the working towards optimal health. And that's a pursuit that I believe may never come to an end.
That's right. I love it. Thank you, Ray.
Ray, it's really funny being married, and our wives are really good at trying to keep us healthy. And I know that y'all, Leanne, thought that one of the greatest ways to keep you healthy is to move into this new house that y'all are in, so you can be moving boxes for the rest of your life. I know the feeling because we help move our kids around a lot too. So yeah, we men have to stay strong for the because of all the movements that we do.
Yeah.
So I shared earlier. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I need to go buy some bookshelves so I can empty some more boxes that are in our garage.
You're an amazing guy. So,
You too, Bill.
well, thank you. Thank you. So we're glad you're all here. I'll say this for some of you that just came on. If you'll be glad to, if you would put your email in the chat, that would be great, because I'd like to connect you all on an email after this. It might take usually takes me about 48 hours before I can get all that rounded up. So if you'll do that for us, that'd be great. I'll connect you all in case there's somebody here that you want to connect with that you met today, new and fresh. The idea behind this seminar today has percolated among Mary and Leanne and myself, and I'll just kind of keynote it for myself, and then these two ladies will add their input because they're much more experienced at this. But in my leadership mantle, one of the things as a Christian that I fell in love with a couple of years ago, that the Lord was really helping to make leadership simple for me. And he said, let the Lord your God with all your heart, and all your mind, and all your body and your soul. And then go love your neighbor as yourself. And, you know, that doesn't sound really profound as you listen to a lot of leadership people out there. But I kind of just dug into it because, Jesus is the greatest leader on earth. He's got 1 billion followers still, and he'd blow up Facebook and Twitter and everything else because of his following. But I want to encourage you that if you really think about it, it's a very important thing to do, and particularly as a Christian, I think it's vital. Because if we have a clean mind and a pure heart, and get our body fit, our soul is a recipient of that. And I think those four, as Jesus said, is we turn our eyes to him and say we love him with those four components in a well-stewarded life. I think we have the capacity in every one of those components to be able to go out and serve well, and serve our culture and community. And so I've turned the word "love your neighbors yourself" into this. It's that I go serve my neighbor, and if I take neighbor, like if I'm a nurse, I go serve my patient. If I'm a business person, I might go serve my customer or my client. As a family man, I serve my wife and my kids. So to me, it's made it much more practical and usable. And so today, what we wanted to showcase is how having a fit body really will help accelerate and empower who you are as a leader, because like Ray was saying, it's just, he's determined to stay out of the grave. I made I have a declaration that says that shame, fear, doubt, and unbelief are in the grave, not me, because Jesus took that for me. So that's just another kind of sneaky thing that the Lord did for us, that he could make us great leaders, because those are in the grave, not us, and our job is to live well on this earth. So I'm going to turn this over to Leanne Goff, let her share from her experience and her value statements a little bit more about this whole program and how leadership and health are very important to her. So thank you for coming today, Leanne.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, this is different for me, and I travel over the country doing this, but to talk to a screen and people that are live at the same time, I'm like, who do I look at?
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's really great to be with all of you. If I'm not looking at the screen, sorry guys. If I'm not looking at you, sorry. But it's great to be with all of you today. And I do have my personal assistant and spiritual daughter of Ray and I, Sonia. I'm looking at Sonia. Sonia, and she travels all over the world with me. Ray. She's been my assistant for 8 years, and Ray and I've known her for 22 now. And so anyway, we were just actually last week in Missouri, Texas, and Oklahoma doing the exact same thing we're doing right now. So we really love doing this. And so a little bit about my story. Well, you heard my husband, Ray. He was just shared a little bit ago. But Ray and I, we've been married almost 46 years, 45 and a half years. He's actually 69 and a half, looks awesome.
Yes.
I am 64 and I feel 46 after, thank you, Jesus, for this program, this incredible transformational program. And I have 6 amazing grandkids we do that we got to keep up with. So I'm thankful that this has happened to us. And I'm going to share with you a little bit how this incredible health program not only transformed our bodies, but it also has transformed our finances, and it's also transformed our thinking. And so in our program as health coaches, we are not diet coaches. I have people that are like, well, talk to me about dieting. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I can't help you lose weight, but I can help you get healthy. As a result, you're going to lose weight. You're going to get off medication. You're going to have more energy. You can get in that bikini if you want to, ladies. But, you know, I can't help you just lose weight to put it back on in 6 months. So, you know, my husband and I, we've been in ministry for many, many years. We started actually in 1984 at Youth with a Mission. Our children were raised on the mission field in Central America during the Civil War. We actually have an amazing daughter and son. Our daughter is actually a health coach with Optiview as well. And then we have 6 grandkids. And so I've been in ministry for many years. I'm a lead pastor at a church in Ohio. I have my own ministry, Land Golf Ministries. I've been to 34 nations. I help oversee 132 churches in Cuba alone. Been there 56 times in almost 16 years. Lots of stuff. I'm not bragging on that. I'm just letting you know a little bit about, so you understand why I'm so grateful for what's happened today, you know, the last 3 years, in fact. So, you know, fast forward now many, many years. My husband and I worked for Teen Challenge for 10 years as well in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Iowa, Nebraska. But somebody's calling. My son-in-law's calling me. Hello. Can't talk to you right now. Anyway, he lost almost 70 pounds in this program, by the way, as a pastor up in Iowa, and is off CPAP machine, doing phenomenal. So what happened to me is, I don't know if you ever heard of a man named Leif Hetland. He is my spiritual father, and I was his personal assistant for 5.5 years. And it was just June 22nd, about 3 days ago. Today's what, the 24th? So 2 days ago, June 22nd, 2010, my body crashed from severe adrenal fatigue. My adrenal glands flatlined. I almost died. And before that, I never had an issue with weight. Even after 2 kids, I was lean, never had a problem. But after that time, I got very, very sick. My hormones got messed up from an adrenal crash, and I started putting on weight I never had before. So actually, I found myself 3.5 years ago looking like I was 6 months pregnant. There was a picture of me right here. That was 35 pounds heavier. I know, guys, probably on the screen there, you can't see it. There you go. I'll show you kind of like that there.
There you go.
Okay. And I was miserable. I was on 2 Tums every night before bed. I was taking joint pain medication. I was pushing a size 14 pill when I really was in a size 8. And I was just, in my life, it's like not a lot of on my plate. I had a lot of plates on my table. And so I was really miserable. And so God spoke to me actually 3 years ago last month and said, you need to get a hold of your health or you won't finish well. I've got an assignment for your life, which I know. I go into places like Pakistan, China, Cuba, Venezuela. Yeah, I go all over the world, Sri Lanka. And he said, you need to get a hold of your health. And this is what I said, but Father, I do not want to diet. Diets never work for my family or my friends, so they're not going to work for me. And that was it, because that's the only thing I knew. And I never had considered dieting ever in my life. And so it was 3 years this month. 1 month later, after he spoke to me, and Sonia and I were noticing friends of ours that are at our church in Iowa, and they were just looking like amazing, like these transformational pictures melting away on Facebook. And we were looking and go, wow, what happened to Jennifer? What happened to, TJ and Steve and Nikki, Vicky and Roger, and all these people. And I knew these people. I helped disciple them over the years. They traveled nations with me. And we were like, they were thriving while they were losing weight, not just surviving, okay? And so I actually, next month will be 3 years. I flew from Ohio, where I'm a lead pastor there, to Iowa, and I sat in a coffee shop with these people. And I looked across the table and I said, I want to know what you're doing because I want to look like you. I didn't say I wanted to diet. I didn't say I want to lose weight because I knew diets didn't work. 81% of Americans who diet will gain the weight back within 2 years because they do not have a support structure. And our actual program, we are a health program, not a diet program. You have your personal health coach. You have your private Facebook community. You have your our fuelings that are amazing. I got one around here somewhere that actually help you create the fourth component, your new healthy habits. And so I looked at them at this table and I said, I want to do what you're doing because I want to look like you. And then they told me about this program. I said, okay, well, I also want to become a coach. And trust me, I did not have the bandwidth for anything else. As Mary said, I was the lead pastor, all ministry, but I was also a law enforcement chaplain in Ohio working with our county, 13 law enforcement divisions, and working with the Ohio Attorney General, who's now the governor. And so I had a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I did not have the room to do one more thing. But I told them sitting at that coffee shop at that table, I said, I traveled at that time 31 nations now, helping people get healthy in their spirit and their soul. But in my world, Jesus died for the body too, and we are not talking about it. And so I became a client and coach the same day. And I've been on a mission ever since then, 3 years later, to see America get healthy. And if you would have told me 3 years ago, you're going to be a health coach, I'd say, you're crazy. I don't know anything about health. I don't have the time for that. That sounds boring. And but I love it. I think Mary can say the same thing, and Annabella, Sonia, and Bill, Kathy and Todd. You know, I'm seeing else is on maybe okay. Angela's a new health coach, but everybody on here would tell you they absolutely love it. And so what I found now, 35 pounds down, almost 3 years I've kept it off. No more joint pain medication, no more Tums. Obviously, I've definitely slimmed down. And again, I just, the energy level that I have, and you know, guys, I wanted to be the best me that I was ever created to be. And I'm around pastors and ministers all the time, and they're huffing and they're puffing. They can't get up the steps. They're telling us to get off. I'm sorry, guys. They're telling us to get off, you know, drugs and alcohol, pornography, and you name it. But yet I'm like, dude, do you realize, or dude-ass, do you realize you got an issue? Like, you're addicted to food, and it's a legal addiction that you've got. We were on our way here today, and I got news from a pastor where I ministered to a church in Oklahoma, I don't know, maybe 2 years or so. He's probably younger than I am, maybe around 60, early 60s or something like that. Thursday night, 11:30, dropped dead of a heart attack just like that. And I'm like, this is sad. This is sad. No warning or anything. This is sad. And I can tell you, pastors, I'm hearing constantly ministry leaders that are leaving this earth before their assignment is done. And I wanted to make sure that was not me. And so now I'll throw it over to my assistant here in a minute, and then we'll open up for questions. But now, fast forward, being a coach, oh my gosh, what it's done. It's got my husband and I, our finances healthy. Okay, for what little bit we paid, $199 to become a health coach with this incredible company that compensates their coaches so extremely well. I cannot believe what we're being compensated today. I mean, it's like, who would have ever thought? And my husband and I have been in ministry since 1984. We've been in missions for many, many years. We've lived in Central America. We've lived 3 places in Mexico over the years. And we worked with Teen Challenge for 10 years. That ought to tell you right there what you live on if you know anything about Teen Challenge, okay? And, but even before Optavia, we were not, we weren't surviving financially. We weren't, thriving, but we weren't surviving. We were doing okay. But now, oh my gosh, and God spoke to me actually about, 21, 22 months ago, and he said, I gave you the program for your health, but I gave you the finances for your, I gave you the business for your finances. Don't ask me for money again. That you can go where you want to go, do what you want to do, and give to who you want to give to, and money will never be a question. And I can tell you, in the last probably a year and a half, 2 years, my husband and I, we don't have, if God lays on our heart to give $1,000 to somebody, we don't have to check our checkbook to find out. We are funding things. We're giving things away. We took, in fact, a pastor in 2019 for an entire year. I wish I had his pictures on my phone, but show you. He's a pastor of our church in Ohio. He's been in a wheelchair for 15 years. We sponsored him from December 19 to December 2018 to December 2019 to do this program. They were on, they still are on disability. They live in a Habitat for Humanity house. As a volunteer associate pastor, went through Rhema years ago, and we sponsored him. 15 years in a wheelchair. And he's lost 110 pounds, and he's out of his wheelchair. And now there's some medication that's helped strengthen his bone. He has brittle bone disease, or HPP is the acronym for the disease. That's the kind of stuff we get to do. We get to help fund assignments in Cuba. Or if I want to jump on a plane and be in Sri Lanka tomorrow, I was supposed to be in Havana last month doing a big women's conference, and because of COVID, we had to cancel it. But if I want to jump on a plane tomorrow, I don't have to wonder who's going to help finance that for me. How am I going to raise the funds to be able to do this? No, I can pay my own. I can fund my own assignment. And so now I call this business tree. We take ministry and business and we put it together. And I love when you said marketplace. when you mention the marketplace, because that's what we're called to do. I have pastors and ministers and believers tell me all the time. I just met with one last night. Like, oh, I feel like God's called me to do this mission trip. Or I feel like God's called me to open up a center for women and children that are caught up in human trafficking. Or I feel like God's called me to do this, to do that. Well, why don't you? Well, I don't have the money. I'm like, okay, well, God's giving you that passion, that dream, that goal and desire, but you're not fulfilling it because you don't have the money. There's something wrong with this picture, okay? And I have a couple of scriptures I just want to bring out, because sometimes, like Mary said, sometimes I was studying this last night, this morning. Sometimes, like Mary said, we don't think you can mix business with ministry, okay? I'm like, thankfully, my spiritual father, Leigh Petland, began to rip that off of Ray and I 12 years ago. Like, he's like, okay, we're going to change that, you know. God wants to bless you, you know, and we're not talking about loot, but we're talking about getting the root of the real serious situation of this here and why we think the way we think. But in Proverbs 13:22, it says hold on, let's see. Psalm 35:27, let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteous cause. Yea, let them say continually, let the Lord be magnified, which hath pleasure in the prosperity of a servant. We skip over those verses.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Isaiah 61:6. But you will be called the priest of the Lord. You will be spoken of as ministers of God. You will eat the wealth of the nations. Like, I like that. I've been to 34 nations and I got more I got to go to. That's one reason I got a hold of my health. And in their riches you will boast. Now, the nations I go to, there's not a whole lot of rich stuff going on there, but let me give you another scripture.
That's easy to change that.
Yeah. Deuteronomy 8:18. This is awesome. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth. Or some translations, power to create wealth. That he may establish his covenant, which he swore unto thy fathers as it is to this day. Well, let me tell you another thing that happened. So I'm as passionate about the business as I am the program, because there's a lot of people, most Americans, 61% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their savings account. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and that includes pastors and ministry leaders. I know pastors who are selling plasma 2 or 3 days a week to try to make ends meet for their family. And I'm like, no wonder they don't want what we have out there. Well, let me have your Jesus so I can be poor like you. Let me have your Jesus so I don't sell blood to try to pay my bills. And I don't believe Jesus was not poor. Mary and Joseph, they had money for the hotel. There just wasn't any room. They had the money, but the only place left was like, hey, we don't have any room, so you got to go in this cave over here, and this cave over here to do this. And then if you think about it, with Jesus, I don't get to do this much. We normally talk about the program, but anyway, this is like, and with Jesus, listen, the Roman soldiers were gambling for his clothes. Like, you know what? They were gambling for his robe, so it was not burlap.
Yes.
It wasn't some piece of just, throw it in the dumpster in the back of the building. He had to have some nice clothes and probably some nice sandals that they were gambling for it. And he hadn't died yet, so it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this was the Son of God, let's gamble for his clothes. No, this is while he's dying. They haven't gotten the revelation yet. Surely this is the Son of God, like the Roman soldier said. And you know what? Back then, nobody would have listened to a poor pauper. Thousands would not have stopped for some poor guy on the side of the street. What I'm talking about is Jesus. He wasn't poor. He has pearly gates and streets of gold. And it's supposed to be in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. So I know we don't have streets of gold yet here or anything like that. But anyway, that's my story. That's my journey. And I'm passionate about giving this business away as much as I am the program, because the business has transformed our finances. And one last thing I'll say is that we found out about 8 or 9 months into coaching that this business was willable. And it just blew me away. My passion went to a whole new level, because my husband and I have been in ministry since 1984, and we have incredible kids and grandkids, and they have an amazing legacy. My kids were raised on the mission field during the Civil War in Central America. They've got all kinds of stories they can tell you that most people don't believe when they tell them. But they had a legacy, but they didn't have an inheritance. And let me tell you, that's scriptural too. Hold on. It's Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Okay, how many pastors and ministers have an inheritance for their kids these days? We don't talk about that in the church either. And I can talk about this because I'm a pastor, okay? And so when I was told that by my mentoring coaches, Leanne, this business is willable, I went to a whole new level of passion. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to build not just a legacy for our kids and our grandkids, but I want to leave them an incredible, incredible inheritance. And let me tell you, we're doing that. And so, there's so many pastors and ministers that do not have anything. Do you know that 41% of millennials today will bury their parents, have to pay for it because there's no money to bury them? Something's wrong with that picture. To me, the kingdom of God is lacking within all dynamics of life, but especially in the church and ministries and stuff. So I got healthy in July 2017, and then my incredible personal assistant, she was like, okay, what are you doing? I need to do it. She lived with my husband and I for a few years till last December. So this is Sonia Silva.
Well, hey guys. So Bill and Mary, thanks so much for, well, actually inviting her, you didn't know you were gonna get me too.
Oh, well, we expect that you would be here. There is Sonia.
Yeah, that's,
before and after.
that's me, at least one of them.
53 pounds now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so, you know, as you can tell, when being her assistant, she has like a lot of energy, but when she got on this program, I'm like, okay, hold up, back the boat up. That's like a ton of energy right there. I need to do something. Which of course I also wasn't very confident in myself. You know, as you can see in that picture, I was the one usually taking the pictures when we'd go on trips, and because I wanted to be behind the camera, definitely not in front. But you know, I was supposed to take cholesterol medication. The doctor wanted me to get on cholesterol medication, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. I haven't, you know, I've heard bad things about it, but there's something else I want to try. And he goes, well, you're gonna have to stop eating red meat, and you're gonna have to start exercising. I said, okay, doc, I'm from Texas. I'm a red meat kind of girl. That's in my DNA. Can't do it. As far as exercising, we were super busy, you know, so it's like we were hardly ever home. And so I said, but I'm going to try something. So 5.5 months later, I went back. And of course, as soon as he walked in the door, he saw the difference because I had lost 53 pounds according to my doctor's scale. And he asked me right away what I was doing. And I said, well, let me tell you something. I didn't stop eating red meat and I'm not exercising. But I told him about the program and stuff. And I also asked him to take my blood work because I was just curious as to what my cholesterol levels would be. Came back, called me, and he was floored because my cholesterol had dropped 40 points without taking anything. And so, yeah, so again, we're health coaches, not diet coaches, you know. And I have to say, I tell people all the time that, you know, we're spirit, soul, and body, okay? And we get in alignment with our spirit, we get in alignment with our soul, but our bodies, we forget about, you know, just like mom, Leanne mom was saying, she's my spiritual mom, so like she was saying, and we forget about it, you know. And so when I started doing this program, and I would be in worship, I love worship, but you know, my inside worship wasn't matching my outside because I was uncomfortable, I was self-conscious, I really couldn't move very well, you know. But when I started losing the weight and just started having the energy and feeling better, all of a sudden my inward worship started matching my outward worship, or my outward worship started matching my inward. And I realized that when we become in alignment with our spirit and our soul, and we become in alignment with our body, all of a sudden we go to a new level of our relationship with Father, you know. And so as I continued on that journey, July 18 of 2018 was our first convention, correct? Mm-hmm. Went there, and I was just messed up after that convention because they kept asking, they gave us this little dream napkin, okay, and said, write your dreams on there. And I kept my dream napkin for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, blank, didn't know what to put on it. And I'm like, what is going on? I just didn't know what to do. I didn't get anything. And I realized finally one day, not after we were coming back from the church, and I was just bawling. And I realized the reason why I hadn't written anything on that dream napkin was because I didn't feel like I was worthy of dreaming. Because I had been through a divorce. I didn't have a family like most people, you know, like a husband or a wife, well, not a wife, but a husband, kids, you know, things like that. It was just me. So in my mind, I thought that my dreams were selfish, you know, that they weren't worthy to be fulfilled. Whew. Yeah. And God, my loving Father, who he is like, I gave you those dreams, and those dreams are yours, and you are worthy. And so I find more and more that God is opening up my dreams. And when I became a health coach, after that, I started writing dreams. I put it on my dream napkin. I cut out pictures of a Mustang. I cut out pictures of different things that I wanted, a house, of bringing my mom to come live with me because she's fully retired and all this, you know. And the following year, guys, almost to the day, I basically drove off the lot with a 2015 Mustang GT. You know, and I know that God gave me that vehicle, but he allowed me to dream again, and he's teaching me now to dream bigger. And it's because of realizing that of not only my potential, but who God created me to be, you know, because before I didn't have that confidence. And even up to a few months ago, I would tell Mom all the time, if you catch me looking at my reflection in the mirror, please don't think I'm vain. Please don't think that. But I'm just kind of really trying to make my mindset catch up to actually what I see, you know, because for so long I had been the bigger girl. So I would see myself in a certain way. And that's no longer what was happening. And so the same thing with the business. You know, I didn't see myself worthy of having a business because I'd never been taught that. You know, I never knew that I could do that, you know, and it's just opened up so much. Of course, the vehicle with Mom and Dad Ray, and just seeing how God has just completely blessed them, and verses coming alive, and the abundance that God wants to give us. Man, those are true. Those are really, really true, you know. He does want to see us prosper. He does want to give us abundance. He does want to bless us without showers of blessings, yes. You know. And sometimes I think we just forget that. And I don't know, this isn't a job. Yeah. It's like a life. Yeah. You know, it really is, because we care and we share. It's another form of ministry. And anyway, so that's a little bit of my story. I didn't mean to go off on that.
Talking about is not just getting your body healthy and getting your finances healthy, but getting your mind healthy. And this is really where the biggest battle is right here. And that's why your personal health coach, and then your own life book, which is your own personal journal, through this program helps us get this together right here, because this is where the biggest battle is. But it's incredible what's happened. We are just on a mission, absolutely a mission to get America and then the rest of the world healthy, because we need it. Let me just say this. People have asked me, you know, why do you do this? And I'm like, well, what should I tell people, you know, as a coach or whatever? I'm like, okay, if you had the cure for Alzheimer's. I was just talking to a pastor and his wife from Atlanta at dinner last night. We were talking about this. And I said, if you had the cure for Alzheimer's, or you had the cure for epilepsy or diabetes or COVID, what would you do? Well, I would be telling people about it. I said, absolutely. We have the cure for obesity. 71% of Americans are overweight or obese. Her mom, Sonia's mom's been off her blood pressure medication, her diabetic medication now for 2 years, type 2 diabetic. And my husband's been off his blood pressure medication for almost 2 years. We have a guy right now, he's type 1 diabetic, and he is we talked to him last night, in 3 weeks, majorly cut down in his insulin as a type 1 diabetic. And he's blown away. He's like, Leanne, he's a Muslim. He's like, Leanne, you saved my life. And I'm like, well, you know, Jesus really did. I don't say that because he, you know, but yeah, in 3 weeks, he goes, you saved my life. And him and his wife, they're precious. They're in Iowa. We're having dinner with them. We go up. But see, that's one of the things I love about this business street. People will walk through the doors of this program and this business that will not walk through the doors of a church. And we have them across the board, even not just on our team, our organization. So anyway, I tell you what, it's I would say it's the best thing since Levi Jeans, because I really like Levi Jeans. You know, not Gloria Vanderbilt, but Levi Jeans. So anyway, Bill and Mary, thank you for hosting this. I'm going to say that.
Can I piggyback on something? If you just want to turn it around, you don't have to pass it over. Just turn it around. So I just want to share real quick. I love, Sonia, what you said about the dreaming part, because I was right there with you. I realized when I got that napkin, I was like, first of all, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm like, this is so stupid. Write on a napkin your dreams. Like, I really thought, oh, this is a bunch of hype and hoopla. But you know what? Like, God had me sit down, and I struggled, because I realized I had quit dreaming a long time ago. Because you know what? I had, like I said, I knew I was entrepreneurial. I don't know if that was recorded in the beginning or not, but I've always been looking for something, because I guess I've realized God made me to be a businesswoman as well as a ministry leader. And everything I ever did, I struggled with that structural tension between doing the work. And of course, if it's a business, you have to run a business. There are activities you have to do. It's not like, so when I first became a coach, I was like, well, I'm just going to be a coach. And if God wants to bring me clients, he can bring me clients. He'll bring them and drop them in my lap. I'm not trying to make this happen. I had such a fear that I was going to be striving in my own flesh and striving. So I have struggled for these 2 years. The Lord has walked me through this, breaking this, like Leanne said, this is it right here. And I really believe a big part of the church not walking in wealth and in abundance the way we should is our mindset of, well, if I'm in ministry, I should do this for free. I shouldn't get paid. I'll just give it all away. And there is so much of that we do. And I'm going to tell you what happens as a health coach. One, you transform lives in their health. And there's nothing more rewarding than getting texts on a constant basis and phone calls and messages from clients who are down off medications or weight loss or in jeans and can wear their wedding rings for the first time in how long, and things like that. Their thighs don't touch the steering wheel. Their stomach doesn't touch the steering wheel in the car. I mean, there's so many things that just people are just finding victory. We call those non-scale victories. So it goes way beyond weight loss. We also have the opportunity to transform their lives in the area of finances because we have this amazing coaching gift. Many of at the table have already decided to utilize, and on Zoom, a few of them as well. So, you know, it really, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing a family have that extra $500 a month that they need, or the extra $2,000 a month. Or the girl that came in and got on the program, lost 20 pounds her first month, called me and said, okay, my sister-in-law wants to do this program, but she won't do it unless I'm her coach. So I guess I need to be a coach. So she signed up as a coach. I said, well, why don't you just share your before and after picture on Facebook and show everybody else what happened with your life? She posted it up there. Do you know this girl, by the end of that month, which was about 3 weeks in, and the next month, she probably made close to $4,000 in those 2 months. I mean, that doesn't happen to everybody that becomes a coach, but guess what happened? Her husband got laid off his job. They had just moved into a new house, had a bigger mortgage, and if she had not had that, and she called me almost in tears and said, thank God this came into my life when it did. So it is just so rewarding to know that you're, you know, I used to feel, well, I really don't want to share the coaching with somebody because it's going to feel like they think I'm trying to make money off of them by getting them to be a coach. No, you know what? It is selfish for me not to share it because I don't know what financially God might want to do, and I'm going to let them make the decision. So we're here today to let you all make the decision and let you guys decide, is this right for you? It's not for everybody, and we certainly understand that. So, you know, then the third thing, so we transform health and we transform finances, but the third thing, the revenue that you will receive, that the income that you make as a coach will blow your mind. Okay, like I cannot even believe I make double what I ever made in corporate America. I do not work corporate America hours. I mean, I am floored at where my finances are. Okay, and what that does is it gives me freedom of time and freedom of finances to have the time and the money to do what God's called me to do outside of health coaching. That's what he brought this into my life for, was so that those visions and dreams and passions that he's given me can be fulfilled. So it's not just about giving your whole life to being a health coach. It's about just hearing from God. So that's what we would just ask, is that each of you would just take everything you've heard and be prayerful and ask the Lord, is this an avenue that you're bringing into my life? And that's really all you have to do, is hear from him. Because I know I kicked and screamed for a minute. I wasn't going to be one of those multi-level marketing salespeople, and that's not what this is. I'm telling you. And thank God he got through this hard head. And I'm just so grateful. 2.5 years later, my whole life has changed. So.
Everybody's looking at me like I'm supposed to. You know, one of the things that we haven't talked about yet is the 4 pillars, and I'd love to let people know a little bit about that. So if one of you two want to pick that up, but I want to highlight something that, to me, that in my leadership, again, that really connects with this program that we're doing. It's all about relationship. And as you just heard, we're all coming to this thing saying, what's going on with you? Can I adopt what you've got? And all of a sudden you see this high trust level, high trust factor come back. And so we're blessing each other by just living our lives well. And that's why we wanted to call this thing Lead by Example. So this is if you want to qualify what they're going to talk about in the way of the 4 pillars, this is a team sport. And so we're not doing this alone. You don't have to feel like you have to be an expert in every area. That's why we have other coaches coaching above us. We have Dr. Anderson, all this stuff, and that's where they're going to explain a little bit about this. If you feel like you want to get on this, not only just for the program for your own health, but if you're interested in the coaching aspect, it is a team sport, and you have some really great teammates here. So when y'all want to pick up on this.
Sure. All right, so yeah, so our programs all have 4 components. And the first one is that you have a coach. So obviously that would be whoever invited you. Primarily, this is Bill here that's gathering everyone together today. So Bill is an amazing coach, and you'd be extremely blessed to have him as your coach. And so the second component is community. And I'll tell you, when you have a support community around you to be able to achieve your goals, it makes all the difference. We have an online support group on Facebook that is private. It is filled with recipes, encouragement, tips, support, ideas, and it really makes a difference. I have some clients that are not on Facebook, and so they don't get the benefits of that group. And I just see this piece missing because they're not getting that same thing. With that comes weekly community support webinars that you can watch live or you can watch recordings. And what I love is that the third component, which is called the Habits of Health System, transformation system. In the Habits of Health, we, again, are not just talking about weight loss and diet. We are talking about lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time, in optimal health. Optimal health means this. In those webinars, as well as there's a book, and there's what we call the life book. It's a 1-year journal. There are 26 elements that you go through over the course of a year at your own pace. And what they deal with is, of course, nutrition and, of course, hydration and how that impacts weight loss and all of that. But it also deals with sleep management, stress management, emotional ties to food, boredom eating, stress eating, all of that. Because if we don't change this and we don't change this, and we don't start to recognize these habits that we have that are not healthy, there are so many times I get on a call with potential clients, and we do something called just a short health assessment. And, they over and over tell me, well, here's how I eat, here's blah, 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 how I sleep, how I live. And there are so many little things that they don't realize are slowing their metabolism, causing them to store fat instead of burn fat. Like we just don't know. I mean, I talk to people that are often, going to the gym 5 days a week and 2 hours each day, and they cannot budge, whatever weight they need to lose. They might be 50 pounds overweight, and they just don't understand how to make it all work together. So it is a process over time, and that Habits of Health system is what really changes you on the inside. So you have the coach, the community, and the Habits of Health system. And the last component is the fuelings, which are the food products that we have that assist you in your weight loss. Now, it can be done with your own food, but there's a lot of figuring you got to do and calculating of macronutrients and all of that to get your body into this scientific place. So the company has created very delicious, convenient, affordable way that's temporary. You only do that until you reach your goal. Once you reach your weight loss goal, then what we do is we actually create a maintenance eating plan for you. We help you transition to that, show you how to eat all your own food and keep the weight off. And we're still your coach, and you still have the community. You still have the Habits of Health transformation system. So it's not like you just get dropped off at the end, the minute you reach your goal. We're here to support that, and the community is a very big part of that. So those feelings, I will just say real quick, and it's a weird word, feeling, like fuel for your body. They're great. They are made with health in mind. So they're not processed food like you would think of food like, from a grocery store or something. These have minimal preservatives, 24 vitamins and minerals. They have probiotics. They come in a huge variety. And, they're just made with health in mind, and they're very convenient. Many of them on the go. You're able to even eat in your vehicle while you're driving and stuff. So anyway, those are the 4 components of the program. And so here's like one of the feelings we were talking about. I just passed it over to you. But there's bars and shakes, and there's breakfast items and lunch items and desserts, all kinds of stuff. Brownies, everybody is saying brownies because we love the brownie. So they're really great, and you'll eat in a way that's going to promote health. and also train you how to keep weight off on the other side. So it's really wonderful. And, you know, if you decide, and I'm admitting somebody else into the Zoom room here. So yeah, if you decide to do the program, know that the value of this program goes way beyond weight loss. It's really going to shift your life in an amazing way. So.
Very good.
Yeah. And we just had another guest come in, not only on Zoom, but Brian Davison is here. For those that you might like, Brian, tell us a little bit about you and what brought you here today.
What do you want to know about me?
Whatever you want
Like you asked that question. So I'm about, I guess about a week. I cheated on Father's Day, so so it was a little tough after Father's Day.
Well, tell
to get back
us
into
a
it.
little bit about you, though. You have how many kids? And
Got 4 kids. We're in the process. Our house is under contract, and we have another house under contract. So we're in that little chaotic season to get a bigger house for 4 kids. The youngest it'll be a year and a couple weeks, and my oldest will be 10 next month. So
Nice.
3 daughters and a son. So we've got a lot of fun going on in my house for sure.
And besides blessing your family, who are you blessing in your ministry?
So my focus in ministry is high school students, and we created something. There's a plague in not just COVID, but there's a plague of isolation in high schools where there's just a huge struggle with depression, pressure, stress, suicidal thoughts. And me and a principal in Swanee, Georgia, at Labor High School, and a psychologist who's known all over the world, Dr. Dave Ferguson, and a friend of mine who owns a brand or is a partner in a brand company. All of us came together and decided to innovate something completely different outside of the box, where we really try to change the climate of the entire high school and empower the students and give them the tools. And so it's called Whisper. And so it's just addressing social isolation through genuine connection and conversations, and it just took off like crazy. So now we're in 3 high schools, and we're looking at expanding potentially hundreds, really. So now we're figuring out how to scale it. So it's just kind of a wild run. But it's been good for me to be a part of all that. I don't have any experience, before I did this in emotional health or education. I'm just like a problem solver, wanting to do something, and it just felt like God was calling me to do that. So it was just it's cool to even see how that impacts my own life, my own family, to work on my emotional health, especially with young kids. I mean, good night. I'm so thankful now that I'm doing all this. Like, connection's everything, and kids just, they don't have connection, and they don't know how to have conversations.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but that's the way we've wired them now. The average screen time is 11 hours a day.
Wow.
And suicide is just, you don't even want me to tell you the attempts. People hear about the suicide stats, but the attempts stats are alarming.
Wow.
Alarming, like you would not believe. So with COVID, we just think the mental health crisis is going to explode, especially in the next year, especially if there's another wave. It's already exploding. I can't imagine it getting worse. So for schools and churches and all of us to just get better at making sure we connect, making sure that we truly listen to get to know people and know how to respond emotionally and know how to be vulnerable and know how to meet each other's needs. If we don't do it, it's going to be bad. But we have to do it. So that's what we're trying to bring communities together to solve that. So
wonderful.
Thanks, Brian, for coming, because it's, this is another example of where if we can empower other people by giving them good health to lead well, you hear the volume and the impact that he's having. So if I can just come alongside, well, there you go. So if you come alongside and just bless somebody like this, isn't that amazing how to do that? So, like I said earlier, it's all about relationship. And so here, Brian was willing to trust me with the program, but I'm trusting, Mary's trusting Leanne, and Leanne's trusting Dr. Anderson. And so it's a chain of events, and there's integrity through that whole chain. I just want to encourage you in that. So we can turn this over to the question and answer, unless somebody else has got a thought process around here. If you we'd like for you to kind of appear on the screen up there if you would. I'm looking over at our screen, but Mary's got the chat thing, but come off mute if you would, and we will answer your questions right now. And it can be in any area. I will tell you, no, I will tell you, Megan, if you ask that question, but you can ask anything about the program we're talking about, or the coaching aspect, or anything.
So they can type the answer
They
question
can
or
text it. I've read or text it in the chat, but I prefer you to do it verbally if you would to come on. So, if not, I get a chance to ask y'all questions. And also, just know I've been trained that silence doesn't bother me. So if everybody gets quiet for like 10 seconds, you can hear us, chewing on our food.
I was just going to say, those of you who are not here in person are missing out on a plant-approved taco dip, which is fabulous.
Mary did that. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. You got tons of healthy recipes.
And I will say that is everybody on the chat the questions?
No.
And like you, Sonia, you addressed this about the red meat and so forth, and I think Everett would address this too. That the people that I've been around, some of them have been chefs, and they're always qualifying. Well, I don't want to just eat that prepackaged stuff and blah 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 blah. And there's something that, like Mary said, that one of the aspects of the 4 pillars is the fuelings that you get, and they're full of nutrients, minerals, and vitamins, and everything you need. But you're also going to be able to go to the store and buy what you want. We just proportion them for you and give you the right ingredients to put in there. So, during the weight loss phase, you're gonna find it not as much of a sacrifice as you might think. And then when you get to your optimal weight, then you can add back and get back to those customizations that you might want. So, I just want to encourage you on that. It's not a downer for some of you. Although I have those chefs out there, you will have to kind of pull back a little bit and follow the coach.
Deborah H. said, "This is excellent. Thank you for sharing. We all need to dream."
Yeah, that's a good word.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing that too. I appreciate you sharing that. I'm in a dream phase right now. Who else?
Comments or questions?
Hey, this is Scotty. Thank you. I'm curious to learn more about the product. I think we've heard a lot about the effects of the product, but can you share more about the details of what this is and how you use it? And there's different kits and so on, please.
Who wants to take that one? Anyone around the table?
You can take it off.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Scotty, thanks for that question. So basically, most of our clients, probably 95% of our clients, we have different plans within our program. We have we have a gout plan, we have a seniors, we have a teenager. My nephew in New Orleans last year lost 35 pounds at 17 years old because he wanted to play in this football team in the senior year, and he wanted to become the captain as well. And so we have different plans, but the main plan, probably the most popular plan, is the 5-in-1. So what you do is you're going to do 5 of our fuelings a day, and really the main goal behind is for us to learn new healthy habits to reverse the old unhealthy habits we've been used to. And so most Americans are probably eating maybe 2 times a day, and what they're putting in these engines or these vehicles that God has given us into the engine is not really healthy stuff. I have a car sitting outside that requires extremely nice fuel in it, and if I begin to put low-grade fuel in it, I'm going to begin to gunk up the engine in it, and that's what we're doing to our bodies sometimes. So most people do what's called the 5-in-1. That is 5 of our fuelings a day, and again, they're all interchangeable. They all have your prebiotics and probiotics, your 24 daily required vitamins and minerals, and those are pure grade vitamins and minerals, scientifically created, and they're not synthetic. And so you're going to do 5 of those a day. And Dr. Anderson, who is the founder of Optavia, he is one of America's top cardiac critical care. I just lost something. Hold on. Something came up. Sorry, guys. Is that everything? Okay. So Dr. Anderson is one of America's top cardiac critical care specialists, and he actually while doing surgery several years ago, doing heart surgery, and his belly was in the way, he had an aha moment and realized he was treating sickness instead of establishing health. And so he left his driving practice and he joined ranks to develop this program. And so his thoughts are just like when a baby's born, it eats every 2.5 to 3 hours. He believes that's what we got created our bodies, is to fuel our bodies every 2.5 to 3 hours. And again, most of us are maybe doing it a couple times a day, and it's not really good stuff we're doing yet. So you'll do 5 of our fuelings a day. They're all interchangeable. And then you do your own, one and own on the 5 and 1. The last fueling would be your own personal lean and green for your protein, your veggie. And like Mary said, everything's laid out for you. You don't have to count anything. I mean, I have so many people doing this, clients that will tell me this is they've done every other diet and program in the world. And they're like, this is so easy. You don't have to think about it. It's a no-brainer. It's just on the go. Very, very simple. And so I think, Scotty, does that help? There's other plans, but that's our most common plan is the 5 and 1. And let me just say this. Our goal is not to keep you on our fuelings, as Mary said, the rest of your life. That we're not about selling food. If we were selling food, we'd have TV commercials like all the other diets and programs out there. Our fuelings are just used as a tool to help you create your new healthy habits, and that's every 2.5 to 3 hours, 6 times a day. So even now, 3 years later, I started the program 3 years next month. Every 2.5, like right now, we're getting some veggies and stuff here. I have a fueling in my purse I'm going to eat here in a minute. So there's like a little alarm, kind of like your gas gauge in your car that goes down and go, fuel me, and you pull into the gas station, and you fuel up, for me, with very, very high grade fuel. And so our bodies have a little gas gauge inside of them that are like, fuel me. And that's one reason my body crashed 10 years ago, 2 days ago, June 22nd, 2010, because I was putting the wrong fuel in my body. Half the time I wasn't putting enough fuel in my body, and I was running on fumes because of my insane busy schedule and stuff. And so, so once you get your weight off, you get to your goal weight, whether it's 15 pounds, whether it's 110 pounds. We've had people lose 200-something pounds on this program. And once you get to your goal weight, then your coach is going to bring you through 6 weeks of transition, backing off of our fuelings each week, backing off of the fuelings and integrating other healthy foods that you've been learning about through your coach and through our program. And then after that 6 weeks of transition, bringing you into optimization. So going further in your health, like I burned the fat in 2017, I built the muscle. We've been working on building the muscle, just like my husband is doing that. So we don't just stop and like, okay, I lost the weight and that's it. No, we don't want you to lose the weight again for 6 months or a year, but it's to keep it off the rest of your life, to have optimal health the rest of your life, and then to be the best Scotty that God ever intended you to be. So that's a lot of information. Does that help you?
Yeah, it does. I'm curious. I don't know much about the fuelings though. Are they shakes? Are they are they bars? Or we don't know much about the product.
Great question. There's shakes, there are bars, chocolate chip pancakes, cereal, soups, crunchers. There's a barbecue cruncher that I actually like. There's my favorite bar is the peanut butter chocolate crunch bar. We have a brownie that has these little yogurt chips in. Like my husband and I have that every single night. He's the brownie maker. Okay, he makes me those. He does an incredible job with them. I will, a lot of times we have oatmeal.
Biscuits.
Biscuits. There's like
chili.
82 different fuelings that we have, and they're all, again, interchangeable. It's not like my son-in-law basically lost almost 70 pounds, almost eating brownies all the time. And people are like, how did you lose all this weight by eating brownies, you know? And
you eat 1 meal a day, did we say that?
yeah, building ingredient. And so, there's just a variety of different fuelings. And again, the main thing is those fuelings used to fuel your body. And let me just say this. So when you start our program, about the first 4 or 5 days, you're going to be burning off the surface level carbs and sugars that you, like if you drank a glass of orange juice this morning, you're burning off those carbs and sugars from that glass of orange juice. And then once you hit about day 4 or 5 or 6, for some people, you're going to go into what's called a gentle fat burn. What happens at that place, you burned off the surface level carbs and sugars, and you're going to begin burning off the deep level carbs and sugars in that gentle fat burn. They're called glycogens. For me, they were sitting dormant around my belly where I looked 6 months pregnant, my hips, my thighs, and my cushion on the back. And so, and that's all gone now. And that's where you get that gentle fat burn. Most Americans do not realize how many carbs and sugars they're taking in every single day. So, for instance, and I've done this, okay? I did this for a client last year in Atlanta. She's now a coach, and she was like, in her second week, I feel like I'm not losing anything. I haven't lost anything this week. And I said, okay, but I'm following the program to a T, I said, okay, well, there's got to be a kink in the hose here. because our program is scientifically created to work 100% of the time when you follow 100%. So I started kind of digging in a little bit and then kind of find out, well, I did have some cheesecake the other night, and then I went and I did this, and it happened that we were going in Nashville to the Cheesecake Factory that night, and in the case of the cheesecakes, I took pictures of 3 different cheesecakes and the amount of calories in each slice of it. They're on my phone here. I got them. I took pictures. And that night I sent them to her, and one slice of one of the cheesecake was like 1,280 calories. Another was 800 something calories. So if somebody goes to cheesecake tonight and they have like pasta or pizza, and then they have a slice of cheesecake, they can walk out of there little with 2,000 to 2,500 calories they put in just from that meal. So I would say that in the average day, the majority of Americans are putting somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 calories in their bodies that they do not realize. You go to Starbucks, you get a vanilla latte, and then you get a piece of banana bread. Well, that's probably about 800 calories right there. So all of this builds up. So let's say an average day I was taking 4,000 calories. And listen, I could do that. I'd have guests over for dinner, make a big pan of brownies with walnuts in them, one of my favorites. Half of the pan would be gone after they left, and by the next night, I had the other half eaten, okay? And so all those calories going in. Well, if you take 4,000 calories into your body, but you only expend, I don't know, 1,800 calories in a day because you're doing a desk job or who knows what it is, where does that other, 2,200 calories go to? It just doesn't seep out of your body at night and kind of float out the window. No, they start building up and building up and building up, and that's where those glycogens come in, and then that's why we look and we got all this, like, stuff going on in our bodies. So anyway, all the fuelings are interchangeable, and you follow it, it works. It's just like, I call our fuelings miracle wrapped in food. I really do, because it really is a miracle. And again, this type 1 diabetic client, last night 3 weeks, and he's majorly cut his insulin out. Type 2 diabetes, people off of their medications. I could give you testimony after testimony after testimony. That's an incurable disease that the doctors are not even being able, they just give them medicine. And I'm thankful for doctors. They have their place for sure in the medical industry. And we got lots of doctors and nurses on our organization. But they're treating sickness and not establishing health. So anyway.
I have something to share about the feelings if you want to turn it around. Something else I thought of to share about the feelings. So, kind of piggybacking on everything Leanne said, the fact that there's no diet medicine, this is often something people ask, like, well, what's in it that makes you lose weight? So there's nothing in the feelings that make you lose weight. It is strictly the fact that you are going to be eating healthy nutrition, the right balance of carbs, proteins, fats, and calories, but you don't have to do the work. So again, you could get yourself into this state of fat burn by figuring it all out yourself. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of food prep, all of that, and nobody's got time for that, or most people don't or don't want to do that. So that's what Optavia has done, is created food products that have already, they've done all the work, they've calculated it. So you're getting nothing but healthy nutrition. And again, they're focused on health. So it's not like processed bad ingredients. You know what I'm saying? Everything that's put into it is thought out. It's the finest of ingredients that are selected. So one thing I like to share when I'm on a health assessment one-on-one, because usually this part of it is done one-on-one with somebody when, like, they'll reach out on Facebook and say, hey, how did you lose your weight? I'll say, let's jump on a call. So I ask them all health questions that pertain to them specifically, what their habits look like, and then I share what would work for them. But in this case, one thing I commonly share is that this is not just what's referred to as a calorie deficit diet, what we're used to, where you eat less and therefore you lose weight. This is actually a scientific chemistry that will happen in your body. So when you eat the 5 fuelings a day, the one meal that you create according to our little guide, it's very simple to make. You weigh out your protein, this right number of vegetable servings, the right number of healthy fats and condiments, and then 64 ounces of water. It is like a cake recipe. And if you were making a cake and you kind of guessed on how much flour to put in, for example, and just kind of threw it in, it probably wouldn't work. If you skip the fat, if you skip the oil in the cake recipe, it's probably not going to work. So I have an example of a client who was on program. She got into fat burn. She was losing. She felt great, because when you're in fat burn, your energy goes through the roof. Your hunger goes away. You feel amazing. We always joke, man, there's nothing like fat burn. It just feels good to be in fat burn. So she was in fat burn, and then she texted me and she said, hey, can we jump on a call? I'm feeling really hungry and sluggish the last day or two. Key indicator that you're not in fat burn. So we got on a call. I go through a checklist with her. She was doing everything right, except I said, well, what healthy fats did you add to your meal? And she said, well, I didn't. I want to lose as fast as I can. And I've always heard fat-free is better. And so that is an example of that's not the case here. This is a science, and those fats are necessary. As soon as she added the fats back in, she started burning. Another person was doing everything exactly right, but they had come out of fat burn. You know what knocked her out of fat burn? Literally, her allergies were bothering her. She started taking like liquid Mucinex or liquid NyQuil. It was one of those liquid allergy meds. And those have flavor and sugar. And it was like 19 carbs per serving. That was enough to throw off that chemistry in her body and take her out of fat burn. And as soon as your body has those sugars and carbs back introduced in, it will turn away from burning the fat and start looking for the carbs again. And so then you got to reverse yourself back to get back into that fat burn. So it really is a science, and Optavia's food products have just been designed nutritionally to make it really easy for you to get there and to be able to get to your goal. And I'll just tell you right now, men lose faster than women. It's just not fair. But every time, and Jeannie and Everett are knocking each other over here, because when you see people get on the program together, you know, the wife's always like, it's not fair. He's done like twice as much as me. So men tend to lose a lot faster. So it's not a forever thing. But the feelings, they're super healthy, and they are created to really just get you where you need to go safely and effectively. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, the feelings were actually developed back in the 80s, originally by doctors to help patients that needed surgery, but couldn't have surgery because they needed to get their blood pressure down, their weight down, or their blood sugars stable before they could. Because when you eat 6 times a day, it's actually what they call a low glycemic eating, and it keeps your metabolism, your blood sugar super stable throughout the day. That's what allows your metabolism to come up, because you're getting the right balance of protein, carbs, and fats and everything at each serving. And it's amazing. Like, in my first 2 weeks, nowhere near my weight loss goal, but I was sleeping better. Inflammation left my body. Joint pain left my body. I was taking a heartburn, over-the-counter heartburn medication every night because I had such heartburn all the time. That went away. Like, your whole body kind of just gets synced when you get into this low glycemic, healthy place. And it just feels good. And then, so I also want to address Leanne mentioning that she was just about to eat a feeling. So if we say we don't want you to have to eat feelings for the rest of your life, you know, get on the plan, lose your weight, and then we'll show you how to eat all your own food. So we definitely know how to eat all our own food and keep the weight off, and we coach plenty of people who do that all the time. But I'm just going to tell you, you're probably going to fall in love with certain things like the brownie and, you know, the breakfast cereal. I was always like a Fruit Loop kind of person, lover, and I'm sorry, that's probably the worst thing you can eat on the planet is, you know, high sugar breakfast cereal. So the fact that I can have Red Berry Crunchy O's with my almond milk in the morning and still have that as an option on occasion, I maybe eat 1 or 2 feelings a day as part of my maintenance, just because it's the things that I love and enjoy. And with Leanne traveling, certainly every time I go on a trip anywhere, I place an order and order more feelings because I want to eat 6 times a day. I don't want to stop. I have a weakness at gas stations, okay? When I have a hard time, I don't know, it's a lifelong thing about grabbing a latte and a bag of Doritos and maybe, like, you know, those donuts that had the caramel icing on them. I don't know where I got that from. In my childhood, I think we used to stop and get that all the time. So I need a plan when I go on road trips, even today, 2 years later, because we're always a work in progress. And Dr. Anderson teaches us stop, challenge, and choose. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going on this road trip. I better have some healthy options with me, or I'm going to make some mistakes that I know are not going to be healthy for me along on the road, you know. So anyway, it's really awesome. I know I kind of answered more than just about the feelings, but those were some points that I thought might be helpful for somebody else that may have had some questions along the way. So,
see, Scotty's got it. I see him still kind of.
Scotty, did that help a little bit more? Give you a little bit more information?
Yes, it did. It was helpful. It sounds very similar to, I mean, I did the keto plan for a little bit. What was difficult about the keto is that, like you said, there are so many carbs and you get out of ketosis really easy because any type of sugar or carb that exceeds the limit, you get out of ketosis. And so having those fuelings, I think, make it simple to get that momentum going. Yeah, so it's
And the variety, because on keto, you're also eating really high fat levels on keto, which long term can, and there's some clients we have that have problems with blood pressure and cholesterol, triglycerides, things where they shouldn't be eating a lot of cheese and high levels of meat and fats like that. So this gives you the ability to get into ketosis, because that's really what fat burn is a mild ketosis, without those high fat levels. And if you're on keto and skipping all the carbs and sugar, you can't have brownies. You can't have anything that tastes like a brownie too much. There are some recipes out there, but again, it takes a lot of effort to grab those special ingredients to make keto friendly brownies and all that kind of stuff. So this, you can have a huge variety of foods as well and stay in ketosis. So.
Yeah. And Scotty, this is Leanne here. And in September 2017, when Sonia and I were on the 5 and 1, we actually did a world trip, and we did 7 nations, 17 airplanes in 16 days, all over the world. And we did the program. We just had our shakes on the plane. We asked the flight attendant for water, or we had our bars, or we had our crunchers, and when we were staying in hotels, we were able to get what we needed to do for oatmeal or whatever. And anyway, so that's the simplicity of the program. It's just that all dynamics is so easy.
Brian's got a question for us.
So when I've done stuff sort of similar to keto, and I could lose 20 pounds super fast, but I had an issue with kidney stones. So that was one of the things that I was kind of drawn to this. Maybe that would help me not get kidney stones. It takes a year over it, because you go to the ER and you get pumped full of medicine. It's very disappointing. Literally, like the day after 2 of my 21-day or 40-day fasts, I would go to the hospital with a kidney stone. It's crazy. So have you heard anybody that has been on this program that has had kidney stones?
No.
Okay. Because keto, that can be a problem. It's
Yeah.
so high protein, my body I love the keto
This is,
diet.
again,
I wish I could do it, to be honest.
This is
but I
mild
can't do it.
ketosis.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's just you eat all that meat.
Yeah.
Eat so much meat.
Well, we do
on
have
keto.
vegetarian meatless options.
I want to do meat, but I don't want to.
Well, you could maybe do some meat.
Keto is a ton of meat.
Yeah.
So this
I've
is
had
limited. You're just doing the snacks throughout the day. You're not going to have near as much.
I think the difference in that, the keto, because from my understanding, because I've had friends that have done keto as well, the difference is the carbs you're only allowed maybe 15 to 30 grams of carbs, and the protein is probably, obviously you want a whole lot of that. With our program, the protein you have, but it's only I think it's 40% of protein. So it's not as much, and the carbs you're allowed 80 to 100 grams of carbs. So that's what helps keep it sustainable. Because I know a lot of my friends that have done the keto, they just cannot sustain 15 grams of carbs as opposed to, and then all that high fat and stuff, they can't keep that up. And so with ours, it's more, like Mary said and Mom said, it's more balanced out. So, the 80 to 100 grams of carbs is a lot more able to maintain than 15 to 25, 30. And the same thing with the protein. It's all split out as far as what's on there. So the protein is I think it is 40% of everything you take in for that. And I think maybe that's why the kidney stones aren't as prevalent in our program as it is with something else, because it's not unbalanced. Does that make sense?
And for instance, we have clients that do not have, they're missing a kidney. We've got 3 of them on clients and coaches on our team. One is a guy in Oklahoma. He actually had 1 kidney removed 3 years ago because of cancer, and they were concerned. He's done, he has diabetes and high blood. He is done fantastic on this because, again, the protein with the kidneys and only having 1 kidney. Now I had a problem. We got another coach, Celia. She has only one of her kidneys shriveled up years ago. She only has 1 functioning. She has lost beautiful. She's 71. She's lost beautiful. She's a coach. She's running an amazing organization now. And so I had actually kidney surgery in '92. I had a kidney stone lodged here, and they had to do surgery. So I told her, I've been there, done that, and I don't ever want to go there again. So,
Right, you don't.
yeah, so we haven't really found anybody that's developed kidney stones because of.
I've had kidney stones too, and it's never triggered anything or
That's
for it to
awesome.
happen again, so.
That's great. I mean, I had one in my last one in January, so it's, you
No
know.
more Jesus.
No more.
Yeah. I'm already 92. I got
Yeah.
another one on my list.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
Jesus.
Okay, so we got any other questions, Mary, on the
I know Deborah H. just said, the variety is amazing. Your body will thank you for each feeling because they're so nutrition dense. You're treating your body to the most consistent nutrition it's ever had. And I will say, people are asking about the taco dip, 7-layer taco dip, which I didn't put all 7 layers in. I didn't put onions in because I didn't want us all to sit here and
if they
so.
send their emails, we'll send them.
But I just, yeah, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I just forwarded it to you, but I
Oh,
also sent it to you, Bill, so that you can forward it on to everybody else.
Yeah, that'd be great if you know, I'm
Wonderful.
not
That's good.
trying to.
So I have a question about families. Can I ask that real quick?
You're showing up loud and clear, brother.
Okay. Well, my question is, we have 2 daughters, 12 and 9. And if we're going to try to change this lifestyle, and this is not a long-term eating plan as far as getting the fuelings, but creating the fuelings ourselves, in the interim while we're on this, what do you do, or how have you observed families integrate this? In other words, our girls aren't needing to lose weight.
Right.
But so how do you do this as a family and then transition, and what have you seen?
This is super family friendly. The Lean and Green meals that we have, like in our Facebook support group under the photo albums, there's like an album for chicken recipes, beef, seafood, vegetarian, all these different options. And all of those recipes, there's Italian, Mexican, Asian, pizza, you name it. People make those for their families for dinner. And for instance, some of the Italian, maybe you might make some pasta or garlic bread or something to go with it for your girls, but you would just eat, if you and your wife were both doing it, you guys would just eat the Lean and Green meal as prepared, but you can make the bulk of the meal together. So spouses often, this is where even the spouse won't get on the program. They just start eating the Lean and Green meal and trying to eat 6 times a day, and the spouse ends up losing weight along with the one on the program, you know. Or I have clients all the time too that are like, can I place an order in the middle of the month because my husband keeps eating all my bars and all my feelings, you know, or whatever. But yeah, very family friendly. And then the other thing is Dr. Anderson, the co-founding doctor, we call him Dr. A. He always says, you know, there is a generational blessing that comes with these programs because the healthy habits that you're learning, that you start to live by, become the normal standard for your children. And therefore they are set up for great success because they see healthy eating patterns, healthy recipes. In the beginning, you kind of, you know, as you make some of these recipes, you start learning alternatives to various ingredients that are in recipes you currently make. And you're like, oh, so I can make this recipe that I've always made a whole lot healthier now, you know? So down the road, the impact on your family is really a lot. So.
Great, thank you very much.
I have 2 questions. One is, could you speak a little bit about condiments, because Jeannie and I play dominoes and other games with friends, and as they're passing around all the great food all the time for 3 hours, we're sitting there trying to eat celery.
Yeah.
That's a little difficult right now.
Sure.
And so I'm taking dill pickles and a few nuts. Well, I know I can't eat too many nuts, so I'm eating a lot of dill pickles. And I like dill pickles. It's not much of a variety.
Right.
And so that's one question. And the other question is, when you're first on it, how do you take care of the cravings? Sometimes I don't know how much of the craving is in my head and how much of it is feeling some hunger pains. But it's probably more in my head because I've been on the keto diet and it did work for me and I didn't have problems. The only problem I had is I wanted to cheat too much. And this, I got a specific regimen. I eat a candy, I eat a bar of fueling every so often, and I know that's all I can have, and I don't have to worry about getting something and stop it. But the keto did work for me very well because I had already lost 30 pounds before I started on this, but it was getting harder to continue to lose. So I'd like to know how you handle the cravings, and how do you handle being at social gatherings where there's great food that you can't touch.
I'll take it. You're gonna take it? So, yeah, so the condiments, you're allowed 3 condiments per day on the program, and in the guide, there's a little list. We do have an expanded condiments guide that you probably got in one of the first days texts when you were on the program, but I know you get so much information in the beginning. It's like, okay, so we can.
Just one interruption, Gretchen. Can you have those 3 condiments all at one time in the evening?
Yeah.
You don't have to spread them out during the day, because I don't have a problem during the day. I have a problem at night.
They can be with your meal, or with a fueling, or by itself.
Okay.
As long as it's within that day. You're
Even
allowed
once a
up
day,
to 3.
not
Yep.
spread out equally.
Right,
Okay.
or they could be all 3 at one time.
Okay.
You're also allowed so many healthy fats based on the protein you pick. So if you're picking steak, you don't add any healthy fats that day. That's the higher fat category. If you're picking shrimp, you get 2 healthy fats that day. So perhaps on the Domino evenings, you could choose to eat a really lean protein for dinner, and those 2 healthy fats, you could bring something with you that's a healthy fat to eat during the evening. And we have lists, extra
Okay,
lists.
so
of
your fats, for instance, don't have to be eaten with your meal.
Correct.
So, Jeannie, I got this idea that you got to have, your lean and green meals got to be, let's say, Pacific. You got to have the right fats, the right vegetables, the right this, the right that. And you're saying I could just eat the fish and then save the rest of the stuff for the evening or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
Okay.
it's more complicated that way. We encourage clients to just keep it all in their meal, but when you have situations, we have nurses that work multiple, like late 16, in fact, Angela on here is one of them. She was like, what do I do when I have to be up all night? I'm going in at 3 and I'm going to be there till 7 in the morning. So in that case, we tell her split her lean and green meal and eat 7 times. She's just eating half of it now and then half of it 3, because basically every 3 hours you want to make sure you eat while you're awake, because that's part of the science of what's happening. So that's the condiments. The cravings, it's normal to be hungry when it's time to eat. Cravings, if they're physical cravings, you may not be fully in fat burn. So I would say get with your coach, get with Bill, and he can kind of troubleshoot with you to see if there's anything else. That 5-in-1 plan that Leanne was talking about tolerates little to no exercise, very minimal, going for small walks, things like that are fine. If you're somebody who exercises more and frequently during the week, especially cardio, that can take you out of fat burn. So the 5-in-1 would not be the plan for that. So sometimes people don't realize that, and they're out of fat burn, and then I'll go through a checklist with them, and they'll say, oh yeah, I went back to the gym this week and I've been doing, an hour of cardio every day for the last 3 days. I'm like, that's what took you out of fat burn. So we need to increase the fuel intake if they're going to keep doing that, or cut back the exercise. And so it's a balance, it's a science. And so I would say check with Bill.
Exercise can take you out of fat burn?
It can take you out of fat burn. So we just need to balance your intake with your energy expenditure to make sure you're eating right, to stay in that fat burn. So the other thing that I'll share about that is cravings can be mental, and emotional, like the minute people sit in front of the TV, they just crave popcorn, because it's an association that they've had for a long time.
Go to the movies, you want
Right,
popcorn.
the movies, exactly. People bring their feelings in the movie theater. We have pictures in the Facebook group. People are like, look at me, I'm in the movie theater, got my crunchers or whatever, but that's where the life book really helps. Those 26 elements really, really help start dealing with those emotional thoughts connected to food and all of that. So the cravings could be that. But once you're in fat burn, your cravings go away, your energy goes through the roof. People text me and they're like, do I really have to eat this whole lean green meal? Like, do I have to eat all 5 feelings? Like, I don't even want to eat these. Can I skip the last one? I'm not even hungry. I'm like, no, can't skip the last one. It's a science, it's a cake recipe. You have to eat it all. So, so that would be my recommendation for that. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions?
I have a question.
Yep. Joanne?
This is on the coaching side.
Uh-huh.
Because I know you've talked to me before about
Mhm.
that, and I've always been reluctant. because I don't like to sell anything.
Me either.
I don't like that. And then the other side of it too was, as a teacher, it's easy for me to work 12 hours a day, probably put another 10 hours on the weekend. So I was concerned about investment of time as well, because that's a reality for me. It's fixed. It's not something I can't be as flexible because I'm also a teacher leader. So there's some other responsibilities where I don't get to have my own planning time often because I'm helping other teachers. So I just wanted to speak into the time investment.
Okay.
So I totally get it, you know, and when you start coaching, you know, if you just want to get your feelings paid for, and that would be 5 clients, then that's fine. You know, I can tell you within this organization, there was no quotas to be met. We are not an MLM or a marketing company, a multi-level marketing company. And so there is no push. I mean, you've been on enough trainings and stuff like that. It's just people come alongside to help you for whatever you want to do with it. And just the main goal is to get America healthy. And so, you know, 5 clients would maybe take you an hour a day to do that. And then your coach helps you find the white spaces in your life to be able to do that. You know, there's other people, it's like, you know what, I want to build my own business instead of somebody else's business, so tell me what I need to do this. That was me with my mentoring coaches, Tiffany and Andy Howard. I'm like, they were in Dallas, and they were a children's pastor for years. And I'm like, okay, I want your life, so tell me what I need to do to get it. And so I did what they told me to do, and I have built an amazing, still building an incredible business in life now in a little over 2.5 years that just blows my mind. And so it's just whatever you desire to do. The main thing is, like, again, you have something in your hands. It's a gift. I don't sell anything. I have a gift. I want to know what you like it, you know, whether it's the program or the business. And so we have something in our hands that America needs. And so it's like, I want to give this thing away to other people. And so again, we don't tell and sell, we care and share. And we just love people, live out loud. And I can tell you probably the 3 top professions of coaches in Optavia is pastors, ministers, healthcare professionals, and teachers, because we already have a heart to help people. And so, you know, it's whatever you want to do with it. We got some people that, again, they just want to get their feelings paid for. So it's about 5 clients. And your first 5 clients would actually be Mary's first 5 clients. She's a client, right?
I would coach them with you. Yeah. That's how we train. I would do your first 5 health assessments with you, coach your first 5 clients with you.
And we team coach. So you have Mary as your mentoring coach, but you'd also have me and my husband. So that way, if Mary is like, goes to the moon for a week, then we're there to help you navigate your clients and your business and stuff. And same thing if I have to step out or whatever. So we're always team coaching. And if you've got a client and you just can't get to them because you're teaching whatever, she's in that client thread with you, and she can get in there and help them out. So it's not like you're left alone. We do this, like Bill said, it's a community, it's a team.
And I will just say that when I first started, that was me. I was like, okay, I heard Leanne, and I said, well, all right, as long as I don't have to sign up anybody after these 2 people, I'm just going to sign up these 2 friends, and I don't want to do any more. And I was what I'll call the rogue coach. And I don't recommend you be this kind of coach if you sign up a coach. There's just so much could have happened if I would have just had this right. But I was like, okay, I don't want to be in any trainings. I'm not trying to do this. I'm not even going to tell people I'm a health coach. If people want to sign up, they can sign up. And I just shared myself on Facebook, like, wow, I'm down 10, I'm down 20, I'm down 30. And people were like, wow, what are you doing? I need to know. And then that's when I got on a call and I signed them up. And so probably within 2 months, I was paying for my own. Before that, actually, by the 3rd
I was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, Mary, how did you lose all this weight?
That was a coach now too for a year and a half.
Yes,
yeah. And so, it really, you know, I was like not trying to be a health coach because I had the mental issues about, you know, that if I'm in ministry, I shouldn't be. It's not right for me to be doing this. But that's when I heard Dr. Anderson, and I heard him say that about what did he say? We don't sell and tell, we share and we care. And I thought, you know what? I can do that. It's already what I do. I'm just going to share results. And if people are interested, they'll reach out. Do you know, from the time I purposed to brand myself as a health coach on my Facebook, and just be intentional to share my results and others. Now I share my whole other stuff of my life too. It's not like it's all that. But I just made it clear, people were aware, gee, she's onto something here. It's working for all these people. I need to know what she's doing or what they're doing. Within 3.5 months of just being intentional to put myself out there as a health coach on Facebook, my income multiplied by 10. Like, I could not believe it. I was blown away. That was in the summer of 2018. I was absolutely floored, and it's done nothing but grow since then, which I thought I'd arrived then. I was like, I can't believe I'm making this for this, small amount of time. But as far as the time, I want to address what you said about the time investment for coaching, as well as something else I thought of for you, Everett, with the program. So in both cases, there is an investment of time. There is an investment of time for coaching. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not, hey, we want you to be a coach so you can get a discount on your feelings. We don't pay you in discounts on product where you have to buy product to get your benefit. We just pay you really good money. So, it's literally a business that you can do at any level that you want. But it does require some level of involvement to make it work. So if you're doing the very simple steps that we'll show you how to do to brand yourself, you'll see results. If you're like Leanne and say, wow, I want what they have and I want to go to that height in this business, and you're willing to invest more time, you can make it happen a lot harder. So
Can I say something real quick? And like Leanne said, it doesn't feel like work. It's fun.
it is.
Yeah.
It's what you already do. I just live my life out loud. We all live our life out loud. And people are like, wow, like I'll get messages from people and they're like, your whole life has like gone to another level. I don't know what you're doing, but I need that. Like, and it has. I mean, I feel like I'm 35. I just turned 55 on Sunday and I can't even tell you, I feel like a whole new person completely. And so Everett, I will say on the program, there is a level of sacrifice. But what I encourage you to remember is it's temporary. You can just stick to where you're at. You're going to have to maybe give up this or give up that, or the Domino's might not be as, like it was. But once you're on the other side, now we'll show you how to eat all your own food. We'll show you how to be able to have the things you like in moderation, how to fit those things in, how to compensate on a night when you're going to be at Domino's and that's coming. So you maybe eat a little differently earlier that day to, not that we want you just to pig out, but you learn how to do it differently. And then part of those, like I ate birthday cake this weekend, okay? So I had a stomachache for 2 days because I'm not used to eating that, but it was my birthday, so I ate cake, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like you just give up stuff for the rest of your life, but on the plan, the cake would not work. Okay, so in maintenance, you can fit stuff in here and there. I was just gonna say something else. But yeah, so there is a level of sacrifice involved, but it is so worth it. If you can just stick to it, the tighter you stick, the faster you'll get to your goal. And then, you can lift up the strictness of it and learn how to maintain at that point. So yeah, just wanted to share that with everybody as well.
Cool. We're doing really good. We're right there at the magic hour of 2, at least on Eastern time. So if you've got one more question, I'll try to put it up here a little bit better. If you've got one more question, we'll take it. Otherwise, I will ask Sonia to.
Somebody just asked, Ruth asked, are there salt and sugar substitutes such as no salt and stevia?
Who wants that?
So yes, you can use those as condiments on the program.
Good quick question. Mm-hmm. So Sonia, in our leadership training, what we like to do is not just end the meeting, we like to launch people out. And I love what you said about dreaming again. And some of the people on the call today are probably dreaming what this would look like for them, even in coaching and so forth. So I just love the way you did it. I hate to put you on the spot, but I just love the way you did it. I think it'll just come right out of your heart. But would you inspire us to maybe, for all of us, to dream again and
sure
and do that well? And for all of you on Zoom, thanks for taking the time to come today. We're really excited for you to be here. And yeah. And again, if you look at your email in the chat, it will make sure to connect you together. So with that, Sonia. launches out with a dream come true. Come on.
Yes, guys. So right now, I just release dreaming over you. The whole dream of heaven, what God has in his heart for you right now in this season, that it just becomes a reality and a revelation inside each and every one of, I want to say, our hearts, because I want to include myself in this as well. You know, and just releasing that dreaming from of things that maybe have hindered us before, that right now I just ask the Holy Spirit to just come and hover over each and every one of us and just begin to stir up things inside of our hearts, of dreams that not only you have had for us, God, but even dreams that you have given us. Dreams that you've given us as just your sons and your daughters, that those just be resurrected again if they've just kind of gone off the wayside or forgotten about, or we haven't felt like we were worthy of those anymore. Just all those lies being broken off, and the dream just to be awakened, to just the sky's the limit, to bring heaven to earth right now, to walk in that realm of just seeing things happen, of everything that our hands touch just begin to prosper, and dreams come alive, that people, when we pass by, that they will feel dreaming come upon them. Just like, you know, we just feel the presence of the Holy Spirit, but they will feel dreaming, like, wait a minute, I remember when I used to such and such, or I used to want to be this. Where'd that come from? I haven't thought of that in years. I just speak that right now over each and every one of us, that we're just saturated with that in our presence, in our thinking, in our spirit, in our minds, and breaking every stronghold that has kept us from fulfilling those dreams right now, in Jesus' name.
Wow. Everybody said,
Amen.
bless you guys. Thank you. Thanks again.